In this video, learn what extroversion really is and why people misunderstand extroverts so much, and how to live happier and healthier lives as an extrovert, and how introverts can get more in touch with their own extroversion first of all, but also connect more with other extroverted types. My name is Erik Thor, and in this video I'll be sharing some key insights that I learned from studying Carl Jung and his psychology on individuation, self-actualization, for all the 16 personalities and for everyone depending on their own unique personality. Most people have the wrong idea about what it means to be extroverted. The classic definition is that introverts get energy from being by themselves, while extroverts get energy from being with other people. Now, modern science has shown that this is actually false, and that even extroverts find it draining to be socially active. What really tends to be the case is that people are mixing up the idea of energy. So when extroverts say they feel energized by social interaction, what they really mean is they find it stimulating, but they can still find it over time draining and exhausting to be socially active, because it takes energy to talk and connect and to study and engage and interact with the outer world. That's why it's so important as an extrovert to remember to take time to recharge and to center yourself. What seems to happen with a lot of extroverts that have not yet gotten in touch with their own inner introvert is that they haven't really found a way to recharge and to keep up a steady energy. What seems to be the case is that extroverts seem to have lower dopamine D2 receptors, and in neuroscience people often think of extroverts as people that are less cautious. What they mean with this is that extroverts are less sensitive to errors. What that means is that when you go into a social setting, you're less concerned about if you pronounce somebody's name wrong, you're less concerned with whether you are introducing yourself correctly, you're less aware of exactly how you're being portrayed and perceived by your environment, and you're less likely to self-correct your own behavior and to spend energy on trying to give the right impression. Extroverts are more likely to bulldoze their way through social situations, especially highly extroverted people, because they like to live at a higher pace and speed. They engage with things quicker, they're faster, they engage and do things and solve problems and make and solve decisions at a quicker pace than introverted types. But did you know that Carl Jung didn't think that you were only just introverted or extroverted? In fact, Carl Jung was deeply critical of the Myers-Briggs type indicator, stating that, first of all, he didn't look at these two traits as dichotomies. Instead, he looked at them as a spectrum. What he meant with this was that while the MBTI thinks you're either an introvert or an extrovert and nothing in between, Carl Jung saw that actually it's a spectrum, and you have people that are more introverted, slightly introverted, and more close to the middle, as well as you have people that are slightly extroverted, moderately extroverted, and highly extroverted. And what's more was that Carl Jung actually believed that you could be both at the same time. Yeah, instead of thinking of them as a dichotomy where you are either going in one direction or the other, he saw and bent them into two different traits and scales, and saw that a person could be both extroverted and introverted at the same time. This, what we call today as the omniverted type, is quite an interesting sub-study, because omniverted types seem to be people that are highly outgoing, yet at the same time treasure their own alone time. For example, I tend to identify as omniverted in the sense that, for example, at the train today I could easily chat up and talk to two French girls and have fun and connect with and take their numbers afterwards, because I enjoy connecting with and talking with other people, especially when I travel. But beyond that, I also enjoy solo travel, which means that for me, after the train ride was over, I was happy to say bye to them and to go off on my own pace, to do things by myself and to just take in the beautiful nature. It seems to be the case for omniverted types is that they are people that both like to live at a fast pace, but also like to slow down and to center and to recharge. And in fact, what it means with this is, in fact, we can understand extroversion and introversion in this way. First of all, how comfortable are you in social settings and engaging with your external environment? A lot of people, even to some extent some extroverts, can find it scary to engage with and interact with other people. Perhaps you might be more shy, perhaps you might be more cautious, perhaps you might find it hard to speak out in social settings and in groups. I don't. I find it really easy and fun to connect and to talk and express myself even around other people. Another way to understand introverts is to say, how comfortable are you at spending time by yourself? Do you find it easy to just spend a day just writing or engaged in solitary activities like reading or listening to music or doing things by your own pace? Do you also enjoy more close relationships and more introspective discussions and quiet time with other people? Or do you feel a need to constantly keep talking and to keep engaging and to keep interacting with other people? There is a fourth type that's really interesting to talk about, and that would be the wallflower personality type. What I found with wallflowers is that they are people that neither enjoy spending time by themselves and find it hard to go out and do things on their own, but at the same time they also find it hard to engage with the outer world and to spend time with other people. We see these characters explored in movies like Perks of Being a Wallflower. These tend to be people that like being around other people, but at the same time find it hard to talk and chat and engage with others. They can tag along friends, but at the same time they can be relatively quiet in social settings. Now, the most important question you need to ask yourself is, what would be healthy and ideal for you? What would you enjoy the most? And what would you like to change about yourself? I found that it's more than possible to grow to be more outgoing or to grow to be more connected to yourself and your own space and time. And if you find that you need more time for yourself in order to reflect and to gain more perspective on your life, I definitely encourage you to try to make time for that in your day-to-day life by scheduling in private time, time to read, time to write, time to think, time to just walk and to reflect and to engage and explore the world by yourself. But at the same time, if you feel that you'd like to be more outgoing and to connect more with other people, there are also ways that this can become easier for you. And if you are trying to become more comfortable and more assertive in social settings, the best tip is to focus on and start with smaller groups first. Instead of forcing yourself to go to a big party, perhaps find a book cafe or a quiet club where you can talk and where it's more easy to come out and express yourself. And if you do go to parties and social events with larger groups of people, find quiet spots, find a kitchen area where often introverts tend to band together on the floor to chat and share their favorite life stories. You don't have to do or engage in anything that doesn't feel comfortable for you, and the most important thing is that you listen to yourself. And the crucial mistake I see with most extroverted types is this tendency to forget themselves, forget their own needs, forget to listen to their own body, to forget to listen to what they want. Often extroverts are so focused on their external environment and what's happening around them, and too obsessed with this need for dopamine, stimulation, constantly, new things happening. But if you do that and if you live that way, you're going to find out eventually that you've been running all your life. And you thought perhaps you were running towards something, but the question was, were you actually running away from something? Were you, and did you feel anxious at the thought of sitting down, slowing down, and engaging in introspection? And were you afraid of taking time by yourself? And if you were, why were you afraid of stopping? Why were you afraid of sitting down and listening to your own feelings? What's so scary about your own feelings? What's so scary about your own thoughts? What's so scary about just sitting in a moment of silence? These are all good questions to ask, because the truth is, while a lot of people look at themselves and their own inner world with a degree of anxiety, often feeling like there's something wrong with them, something bad, something that they shouldn't be thinking, something they shouldn't be feeling, something they shouldn't be having. The truth is, every person is highly complicated, and you can choose which thoughts to engage with and how you want to relate to the thoughts and feelings that you have. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean that that's how you think. And just because you feel a certain way, that doesn't mean that that's how you have to feel. The most important lesson is explored through meditation. In meditation, you're forced to sit still and to just clear your mind. And in this exercise, what you learn is, you learn to choose your own thoughts. You learn to choose what to think about and how to think. And you learn that actually, in a sense, you are the train conductor of your own mind, meaning you have lots of trains, lots of thoughts passing through, and you're the person that navigates and directs all these trains, and you choose which thoughts to go down and which routes to go and where you want your mind to focus. And so what's the healthiest thing an extrovert can do? The healthiest thing is, of course, to honor your own extroversion, because there's nothing wrong with enjoying connecting with other people and It's something really beautiful to go out into the outer world, to take action, to experience life, to experience all the beautiful sights like I do here today at Montserrat in Barcelona. The most important thing is, what do you feel comfortable with, and how can you learn to find ways to enjoy both being extroverted and being introverted? What forms of introversion could work better for you, and what forms of extroversion might work better for you? Carl Jung believed that there were many different forms of extroversion, many different forms of introversion, meaning that not every single introvert had to be the same kind of introvert and had to be an introvert in the same situations. For example, he spoke of the extroverted intuitive type, the extroverted feeling type, the extroverted thinking type, and the extroverted sensing type. And he saw that, well, certainly there are extroverts that are just purely extroverted, in the sense that they are extroverted in every single possible way of the word. There are also people that are, for example, only extroverted intuitive and not extroverted sensory, meaning that they enjoy discussing ideas but didn't necessarily enjoy going out and exploring and connecting with nature and the outer world. And he also found that, well, certainly there are extroverted feeling types that really enjoy engaging with people and collaborating with others and working together with groups. He also found that there were extroverted thinking types that were more concerned with competition, for example, putting themselves forward in business and in professional settings or at work. And beyond those four, I've also found that there are assertive extroverts and shy extroverts. Shy extroverts being people that, while they enjoy social interaction and like having people around them and like having a fast pace, feel a little bit more shy about putting themselves forward and talking and speaking up, and sometimes, even if they are extroverted and even if they enjoy it, still can find themselves being more observant, studying other people, studying the group and studying others, but not necessarily engaging with others. So what I recommend is start drawing it out. What kind of extrovert are you? In what situations are you more extroverted? In social, professional, in large groups, in small groups? And during what activities are you the most extroverted? When discussing heated intellectual topics, or when out in nature, or at a party, or at a club, with other people, in groups, or at work, for example, solving problems, getting things done, and making things happen. Finally, once you've done that, start thinking about what you'd like to change about that. Is there some area where you would like to be more extroverted? Is there some situation where you'd enjoy being a little bit different? And of course, are you taking care of your own energy and making sure that you're balanced? The biggest problem with extroverts that don't recognize that socializing and engaging with the outer world costs energy is that they crash, they burn out, they exhaust themselves. Many extroverts pour themselves into living life at a fast pace, constant action non-stop, until a point where they just can't run anymore. They're just exhausted, they're just dead inside. And they feel at this point that they have nothing left to give. Many extroverts become just burnt out of life because they forgot to listen to themselves. And so, are you taking time to listen to yourself? And are you checking your own energy? And are you taking care of yourself? Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next video.